Hi guys, welcome everyone to Sports Talk with Knockout. So today we are going to review. Sorry for the late review. So we're going to review the finals between Sri Lanka and Seychelles of the Four Nation Mahinda Rajapaksha Trophy. It was indeed something very good for Sri Lanka football fans after a long time and international football in Sri Lanka. And we saw the finals, a packed stadium supporting Sri Lanka. That was really good for Sri Lankan football. So we saw sport means saying that this will just a stepping stone, that this four nation will be happening every year, which is really good for Sri Lanka football fans, some international football back in the country. So I welcome my usual guest who will be doing the show today, Akib. And Akib Kambuna, and I have
මේ
coach
මේ
Shabir
මේ
also.
වගේ ජර්සි එකක් ගන්න අකිල් වාසනාව තියෙනවා. දන්නවනේ කාගේ ජර්සි එකද කියලා.
ඒක සුජාන මට දුන්නේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා. ආකිබ්
සුජාන්
තියාගන්න.
ආකිප්ට තියාගන්න කියලා තියෙනවා. ආකිල්ට නෙමෙයි. unbelievable performance by සුජාන්. මම දන්නේ කොහොම මේවා කරන්න කියලා බැක් ඉන්ජරි එකකුත් තියාගෙන ටූර්නමන්ට් එකේ සෙල්ලම් කරපු විදිය and to win the most valuable player of the tournament.
Akib, welcome Akib.
Shabir, කොහොමද ජීවිතේ?
Yeah, hi.
busy week එකකට පස්සේ.
Busy week, yeah, macha. Busy week, but
Now they say the Harsha Bogle of Sri Lanka is Shabir.
football.
hopefully I don't lose hair, macha.
How was the experience at the grounds?
Well, it was whenever different experience. When I think Hunga Katia after a long time, may saw atmosphere, macha, which is I think suiting football. You know, the type of the carnival type, the people going crazy with the flags and all. I think, to be very honest, macha, last time I saw that was in '95 at Sugadda's stadium when we won the SAF Cup. That was like electric. You know, when the national anthem was sung, it was like, you know, going back to those days. It was so. It was awesome feeling, macha. කියන්නේ වගේ ෆීලිං එකක් මේ දිගටම තියන්න පුළුවන් නම් අපිට ෆුට්බෝල් මැප් එකට ගේන්න පුළුවන් ළඟදිම.
මේ ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එක මදි මං හිතන්නේ තව ස්ටෑන්ඩ් දෙක තුනක් හදන්න මේ ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකේ තව එකක් තිබ්බොත්.
ස්ටෑන්ඩ්ස් මෙහෙම දැන් අපිට තිබ්බනේ ක්ලවුඩ් කන්ට්‍රෝල් උත් එක්ක මේ හින්දා මේ ස්ටෑන්ඩ්ස් ගත්තොත් එම කොහොමද අපිට මේ ෆුට්බෝල් වලටම කියලා ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකක් නැහැ. So race course is a makeshift ground. මේ දැනට අපි ගත්තොත් facility wise තියෙන හොඳම ground එක in terms of dressing rooms, එතකොට you know, pitch එකයි and other facilities එම ගත්තොත් එම race course is the stadium now. So probably if Sugadda's stadium is done, rebuilt or like that would be the ideal grounds to host a football international football tournament.
So to be honest, it was a sad ending though. අපි කොච්චර බලාපොරොත්තුෙන් හිටියා විනාඩි 84කුත් පහු වෙලා 3-1 and we ended up losing. What went wrong, your opinion?
I mean, see, it's you. There are two sides for the coin. Akib. Sad ending, yes, but eventually football won. The sport, I think we started off with the correct footing, getting back football after a long, lengthy break. So, yes, we were sad as Sri Lankans not to win, and especially leading by 3 goals to 1, 84th minute again, and then giving losing the match on penalties, it's like heartbreaking. So uh, I mean, you can't point fingers at anyone. End of the day, it's a game, and they. Uh, I mean, all four teams who took part in the tournament, we need to give credit because it was very challenging conditions, especially ground condition. Underfoot, it was very very soggy. Although මං හිතන්නේ TV එකේ බලනකොට ඒක පෙනුනේ නැති වුණාට, I mean, I knew when even you would have felt it, and how soggy the ground was. And apart from that, we had a good uh, ground staff been managed a ground again, especially within 48 hours to get the ground back on track with heavy rains. It's a challenging task. But ultimately, as you said, Akib, as Sri Lankans, as a local, yes, sad that we didn't win the trophy because we were all expecting the team to win. Uh, I mean, leading 3-1, 3 goals to 1, and not winning it is like uh, අපෙන් අර බලෙන් ඇවිල්ලා උදුරන් ගියා වගේ වැඩක්. But that's sports. You win, you lose.
Yeah, it was. I think we lost Akib. Okay.
Sorry, can you hear me there?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it was a fabulous tournament, as you said. It was well organized, teamwork, absolutely best. Bangladesh coming into the tournament without 5 players, but still managed to win against Maldives after 12 years. So these things, and Seychelles had a tournament after, or practice after 2 years, I think. They practiced for a couple of weeks and came for the tournament and clinched the trophy. So end of the day, football won. Yes, but as Sri Lankans, a tournament we had on our hand, a pace we would have had after 26 years to clinch a trophy. That's the thing. I mean, there are a lot of questionables here. So you know where I'm going at the moment. But yes, I don't know. The substitute has been questionable and questioned in social media and all over the media uh, again and again. මොකද්ද මේකට හේතුව? අන්තිම 89th minute එකේ substitutions දෙකක්. Then we saw even Akib, as soon as he scored the goal, he came out. So usually you don't see these things. If someone scores a goal, their morale, their mentality is in a very next level, especially in a final. And he scored a volley, half volley. So මේවත් එක්ක කොහොමද මොනවාද එතන උනේ? ඇයි එහෙම දෙයක් උනේ?
Okay. Now this මම කියන්න යන එක, it might sound a bit different to
Yes. Okay.
as per whatever the answer that you guys are expecting. But from my point of view, yes, the substitutions made was not in the correct time. It was not the proper time to make those changes, especially Akib coming off just a few minutes after scoring the goal. He should have එයාට තවපොඩක් සෙල්ලම් කරන්න දෙන්න තිබා. Okay, tired legs maybe, but at least another 5 to 10 minutes, because by that time දැන් goal scorer කෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන් මාක් කරනවා වැඩි. එතකොට අපිට ඒ කියන්නේ ආකිබ්බ මාක් වෙනකොට අපිට වෙන තැනකින් ඕපනින් එකක් එන්න පුළුවන්. because he's a target man, right?
Yes.
So ඒ වගේ මේකක් තියෙනවා. But see, we all know 99% of people who came that day are blaming the coach for making those changes. But what I feel is, from what I saw, is that when making those changes, there was no proper communication with his assistant coaches. That's what I felt. I mean, you need to consult changes karnaකොට, especially at critical junctures. Again, 84th minute when we're leading 3-1, do we need to make those changes? Should be the first question.
Exactly. So I have the pictures of Akib's goal. Basically, this is the goal he scored. It was a half
that was
volley.
a good volley.
It was a stunning finish, and with that, you are getting rid of that player is questionable. So to be honest, to fair for the media as well, we have asked this question before the final about substitution from the coach. Okay, so the answer was it wasn't me who does the changes, but the catapult system. So the question raised there, if a coach can't make real time decisions on the field depending on the situation, why would you need a coach? We would easily hire or install a software and get the software to do the job.
Exactly, I'm with you on that because see, catapult, as we all know, is used to track the player's performance. That might be before a game, after game, whatever during the game. But there are some things where a coach needs to understand also, because whatever said and done, you need to assess the situation then and there, which a system cannot do. You have your you have the look and feel. When you're coaching, you have this four eyes, this thing that you can see the ball as well as without the ball. See, based on that, there are decisions that a coach can make. So let's say a coach is in a difficult situation where he cannot make a proper decision, right? That's why there are assistant coaches where he needs to consult, right? So like you said, Akib, I 100% agree. Catapult is just an indicator on a player's performance. It is not. We can use it to make decisions, but uh, we cannot go by its own decisions.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
you
I
can get the help of it to make decisions, not
yeah,
let
exactly.
that to make
It's not.
decisions.
Yeah. So that we cannot always depend on a technology. You have to have a human element as well to especially when you're doing substitution, because 85th minute doing a substitution, bringing off two defenders. I mean, that's totally unwanted at that time. And okay, Chamod was playing well. To be fair, on him, the final game he was doing well. As for his previous two games, he had improved in that game. But Chalana, who Chalana Chamira, Kalu, he was. I mean, he could have played another 45 minutes easily, and bringing him off the field was a crime. And
Yeah,
substituting those two with under 23 player at that moment of time was not a ideal substitution.
Daniel McGrath came in for the first time in the tournament in
Yeah,
89th minute of the final. Can you believe this? Who?
that's where we
This
say
is
the catapult cannot analyze those. You need to have that human element where people need to consult, talk to each other. During the entire tournament, I never saw. I mean, I know the coaches. I know personally, I don't know them, but I have never seen the coaches talking to each other during the game. Perhaps they might have discussed off the field during halftime or before the kickoff, but not during the game. That shows that the communication between the coaches were not there, and because of that, the players were suffering.
so there were incident. I don't want to go there to discuss about the incidents or anything, but there was a lot of black marks came into the game after the final as well. But again, to have to happen this, and if you see this picture, the look of Sujan, the way he looks at the trophy,
And
it's
that's
you
that's
can't bear
heartbreaking.
that.
You can't bear
You
that.
can't. So
Even
it
see another
yes.
point, Akib, that I need to make. As players, I think whoever is watching this show, the national players or whoever it may be, should also understand that okay, the coach can make a mistake, right? But it's up to the players who are in the field to ensure that you don't succumb to that. For example, I'm not blaming anyone on what happened. For example, if someone took the leadership in the middle, saying that okay, wrong change done, but let's make sure that they don't score. Let's supplement to that mistake of the substitution. Okay, one senior guy coming back and playing as a defender, holding on. so that the guy who came in, Daniel, will not feel that pressure. If I'm not mistaken, that the third goal, or if the second goal went off on Daniel's flank. I can't, I don't remember well, because I didn't see the second goal, but I think he was involved off the ball in where that goal had was scored. So Ethanatta Villa, I think as players we need to learn. Now this is something which players need to learn. You go for international matches or even local matches, coaches make mistakes, referees make mistakes, but end of the day you should not um, get the end result wrong. You have to come in as a team, collect yourself, and then take it from there, because it was just 5 minutes before the final visit and it costed us a lot.
Yes, and to be fair for the players as well, Shabiraya, I don't want to blame there for the players because we were missing ducks and Puslas.
Yeah,
Puslas wasn't there because of red card. Usually, the person who has the command in the defense line. Okay, so then Shalan Shamir, or everyone knows as Kalu Ajit, basically phenomenal throughout the tournament.
yeah,
He's being superb. So then he went out. Okay, so who's the person who are going to take in charge? We saw Chamot playing throughout the tournament. It was pretty bad, especially in the first couple of games. But to fair for him as well, he played well last few minutes in Bangladesh game, and he was doing well, really well in the second half of the final as well.
yeah,
So when someone is doing that well, and you are seeing that okay, there are a ton of improvements, and Chalan and Chamir is doing really good, and we have already lost a couple of players like Dylan went injured, Kavind wasn't in the field. uh, it was only Sujan at the end of the time who left in the field who can have a command. So
yeah. See, okay, again, not blaming the players, but Sujan can't do that role on his own. I think
yeah.
previously also on one of the shows I've mentioned that Sujan is the captain who can lead, but everyone who plays along with Sujan should lead themselves. Should be, should have that this thing to be, captain within, so that you feel that pressure inside, because Sujan takes a lot of pressure onto him, a lot of pressure. Even when the before kickoff, during warm-ups, he takes a lot of pressure. Even I think during press briefings, he had taken that pressure. But he always comes up with a smiley face. That's Sujan for us. But say the other players also need to take that pressure, distribute the pressure, so that one person is not carrying that along throughout the 90 minutes. So again, it's a learning curve for us, because say previous tournaments, soft, we did well. Here we have done very well, so we are improving. We are on the right track. But compared to previous tournaments where we got, last time we played Mali, we got thrashed. Then we lost to Bhutan. So all those are bad experiences or games that we had played. But now since the last two tournaments we are improving, so we are on the right track. Uh, Not in terms of coaching or anything, but the players, the mindset of the players, the approach, everything is on the right track. So it's just a matter of time to be fall in place. So there are small things which we need to address. It's not that we don't have football, we have, but we need to make that approach proper, be a bit more
So
professional
yeah,
in.
as you said, we have to, I mean, to be honest, what I feel, I don't know about others, but what I feel, we have to give the entire credit, the whole credit to the players who brought us to the finals. They has been unbelievable. Look, dressing room, probably these issues has been there from the qualifiers, SAF, blah, etc., etc., etc. We haven't seen much, but we clearly saw, because I was in the ground, you were in the ground. I was behind the dugout, behind the goal, taking pictures, so I saw these things. So but with all these things, players coping up, going into the middle, act as nothing happened. Yes, expression came out at the finals, emotions came out in the finals, but they were brilliant. They did the end, whatever they can to bring us to the final. Something we can celebrate. Yes, runners up, we won, we lost in the penalties. Anyway, when we are going to the penalties, Sujan actually got the betterment of penalties by first penalty was missed by Seychelles. Then what happened? Wasn't there enough practice? What was the issue?
Okay. I think except for one, the last kick, all the two other kicks which were this thing were kicked out by our players. So again, penalty is something which you need to practice, but also at the same time you need to have a bit of luck as well. Um, so when it goes to a game of penalties, yes, it's a difficult game. It's a difficult. You can't have a prediction, especially if the two teams are in equal terms. But I would say by looking at the kicks taken at goal, we were a bit tired. Our legs were tired, especially the last kick, Charita's kick. It was a very very soft kick. I mean, you can't blame him. He had played throughout the 90 minutes underfoot. The conditions were not that good, and you go and take a pressure kick, 12 yard. It's your knees shake, and I think that's what happened. So again, it's a learning curve, Akib, because our guys have not faced this pressure. I don't think they have faced this pressure even during a club match. So the pressure that they have got is something which is good in terms so that they are prepared for the next tournament. I mean, I think the federation is planning to play a Six Nations tournament. So I think they are prepared and they know what to expect in that tournament. So I think we were a bit tired, and I don't think that we would have actually done a few shots on goal during practice for penalties. I mean, Marvin's one, he was probably trying to go into the top corner, but missed by inches. I think the best kick taken was by Sujan. That was a super kick out of all the kicks, both teams. So that was a super kick by Sujan. But apart from that, I think we were a bit tired when taking kicks, and
Even
you
when it
can't blame
comes to
the guys.
players, Shabiraya, I think you were right. But I also see as we lost the game when uh, Seychelles equalized two goals within, I mean, scored two goals within last 5 minutes. That's where we lost. When that happens, mentality of Seychelles is probably skyrocketing, and
Yeah,
again, other way around, our players, it's sinking on the middle of the sea basically. And of course, there was a lot running on their mind as well with coaching, and there are a few issues. We discussed this, and consuming two goals at last 5 minutes, everything just gonna burst out. That then and there, I think we lost the match. But as you said, this tournament has been, there are a lot of positives we have to talk about, but it's hard to talk these positives because of what happened in the finals. But players, they probably haven't played in front of this much of a crowd for, I don't know, maybe with the entire their career. We don't get this much of crowd in club football. We don't get this much of crowd even in national football. More likely for last few years, whenever we had. So the only time, as you said, I've never been in 95 World Cup, sorry, SAF Championship. I was just 3 years old. But again, these were the stories we heard. Okay, so this generation never heard about, just heard about it, but never seen such a thing, even including the players. Most of the majority of players are my age or couple of years older than me. So they are just 5 to 6 years. So they have never seen this. So yeah, this is an experience. They know what to expect next time when such a tournament is there. They have been fabulous, but I think I don't know. It's coming. Keep rotating back to the point. Why did we lose? So players wise, Shabiraya, who do you think the best? Of course, Sujan was the man of the tournament or most valuable player. Other than that, who do you saw that up and coming, who can make a difference in upcoming tournaments?
Um, okay. Say another positive is that Mazin got the golden boot. I don't think we would have ever uh, had a player winning the golden boot, scoring six goals. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in '95 when Aman got the golden boot, that was only 2 or 3 goals. I'm not, and I stand to be corrected. But scoring 6 goals in an international tournament, is something, it's something wonderful for a striker, especially playing in front of the home crowd for the first time. And up and coming players, it's like this. You can't pick any player, saying that this player had performed well, because if you are to name an up and coming player, we should see someone coming from the youth system. Whereas in our case, it was not the case. We had everyone who are experienced players. So if you ask me up and coming player, I of course didn't see any, because there were no new faces. We saw Sasanka Dirhara coming and playing the Bangladesh match. He made quite an impact during the first half when he played, because he made a few moves. He was quite fast. He was pressing, and that was okay. Just one game. But if you analyze throughout the tournament, we had more or less the same team playing right throughout, with a few changes. But all those are experienced players uh, who had been playing for almost 2 years. So if you take age-wise, up and coming players, I of course didn't see any, probably because we didn't have any. But players who made an impact to the tournament in terms of getting us through to the finals, definitely Sujan was one of them. And Wazim, yes, made an impact. And I would also mention a player who, from my point of view, made an impact, but it was a silent but very important impact, which is who is Shazni. Shazni, we didn't see him with the ball a lot. As you see that number, we didn't see him with the ball a lot, but he was there. Um, you know, uh, he was there in the correct position when the ball was to be received, and he fell onto a defensive role when we were in defense. So most of us didn't notice that, because he was doing that job. Literally, he was very fluent in that. Probably because he played in the same position. He plays in the same position for the club, so he was a natural player in that position. He made an impact which people, I don't think a lot of people noticed. I mean, there was one game, I think it was a Seychelles game or some this thing, where he came in as a substitute,
Yes.
and he took the ball from our own defensive line, and he was taking the ball almost 10 yards, and he was asking the players to open themselves up for him to pass. And now that was something very encouraging to see from my point of view as a coach, for a Sri Lankan player to take the ball from the defense to 10 yards in front, and then asking the players to move out so that he could make a pass. That type of football we need to encourage in our players. Holding on to the ball, waiting for that correct moment to pass. Making those gaps. That is what I think we should learn to play. That is how I think we should learn to play, rather than just passing and expecting things to happen. So Sujan, Wazim, Shazni, and as well as obviously Chalana and Daxon, they were like they were the strongholds in defense, and they were very they were commanding in their position. We saw Chalana, Kalu going advancing into the attacking attacking role as well, and then falling back into defense. That was from his fitness point of view, he was like, say, he was one of the fittest players in the team. So
Uh,
uh,
ඇසල කිව්ව වගේ මම එක දැක්කා maybe I was watching too much because I played with Shazni to the school for almost 10 years, but I saw that. Okay, as you said, not many saw that, but I saw him doing 1-2 passes, doing a little bit of movement in midfield. Actually, we didn't see this when he wasn't there, especially during even the SAF. In SAF, we felt like there was no midfield at all. So
mm,
මේ අපිට ඒ මිඩ්ෆීල්ඩ් එක අපි දැක්කේ නෑ. අපි ඉතින් අන්තිමට මේ ශත්නික ඉන්ක්ලූෂන් එකත් එක්ක මම හිතන්නේ මෝල්ඩිව්ස් මැච් එකේ එයා ඇතුළට එද්දි ඒ ඉම්පැක්ට් එක එයා ගෙනාවා. අපි එයාවට පස්සේ තමයි මම හිතන්නේ ගෝල් තුනක්ම ස්කෝර් කරේ. ඉතින් ඒක ලොකු මේ එකක්. අනිත් එක දැන් වසීම් එක්ක කතා කරද්දී ගෝල් 7ක් ගැව්වා 6ක් නෙමෙයි 7ක් රේෂියෝ එක probably closer to 1.5 per game මං හිතන්නේ අපේ හිස්ටරි එකේ මේ වගේ රේෂියෝ එකක් එක්ක ප්ලේ කෙනෙක් ඉඳලා තියෙනවා කියලා මම වසීම් almost scored 10-12 goals already within like 10-12 matches for Sri Lanka තව matches 5-6ක් විතර ගාද්දි මේ highest goal scorer තියෙන්නේ මම හිතන්නේ highest goal scoring tally එක තියෙන්නේ 17යි
ඒක තමයි මම කියනවා අපිට අවිල්ලා මේ මැචස් තියෙන්නේ මේ ප්ලේයර්ස්ලාගේ performance එක එළියට ගන්න මැචස් තියෙන්න තමයි මේගොල්ලන් අපිට වසීම් කවුද මේ ආකිබ් කියන්නේ කවුද ශාස්නී ඩක්සන් කියන්නේ කවුද කියලා දැනගන්න ඕනේ දැන් ඒ මැචස් නැත්තම් අපිට මේව කරන්න බෑ මොකද ඉස්සර ඇවිල්ලා මැචස් තිබුණේ නැහැ සෝ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ 10 year career එකක් ගත්තොත් එහෙම goals 10යි 15යි ගහන්නේ but matches දීලා තිබ්බනම් ඒගොල්ලන්ට වැඩිය ගහන්න ඇති. දැන් අපිට අවිල්ලා ඒ chance එක තියෙනවා matches දෙන්න. හැම මේ window එකකම match එකක් ගහුවොත් එහෙම අපිට goal scoring ratio එක වැඩි කරන්න පුළුවන්. And probably these players might end up, playing in some big leagues one day. In the Asian region. So ඒ capacity එක අපිට තියෙනවා. ඒකමද අපිට exposure එක මෙච්චර කල් තිබුණ නැති එක තමයි මම හිතන්නේ ෆුට්බෝල් වලට තිබ්බ ලොකුම road block එක
අනිත් එක අපි දැන් මේ යන් ප්ලේස්ලා ගැන කතා කරද්දී අපි මේ මම හිතන්නේ ප්ලේස්ලාව දැකපු හින්දා මීට ඉස්සෙල්ලා එච්චර අපි හිතුවේ නැති වුණාට ඩිලන්ට තාම 19යි හරි 20යි හරි ආකිබ් 21යි හරි we had probably 5-6 players who are under 23 අමාන් ආකිබ් සසංග ඩැනියල් මැග්‍රාත් මේ වගේ ප්ලේස්ලා 5-6 දෙනෙක් සොඩ් දෙක හිටියා under 23 කට්ටිය එතකොට මේවා most important things they are getting the experience and they have if they do right they probably have around another 10-12 years to play අපි කතා කරොත් වසීමුත් මම හිතන්නේ වසීම්ට තාම 27යි so at least another good 3 to 5 years at least minimum තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ high level එකේ play කරන්න ඉතින් මම හිතනවා තව tournaments එනවා නම් අපිට බය වෙන්න දෙයක් නැහැ අපි අනිවාර්යෙන් champion වෙයි මේ යන විදිහට next year at least
මේ ඕකේ මොකද මේ අපේ ඔයා කිව්ව නම් ටික තියෙනවා මේ මොකද්ද මේ up and coming players හැටියට right but most importantly අපේ තියෙන ඕනේ consistency එක every match you need to improve that level of consistency has to be there අපිට අවිල්ලා එක match එකක් 90% selling the second match we can't go down below 50 so players also should understand to keep that levels of consistency so that their performance will improve we cannot our performance cannot depend on the opponents like say for example if you are playing a lesser known team or a weaker team you can't expect the performance to go high and then a performance to come low when we are playing a team which is similar in our ratings or in par. So we need to improve day by day. Players will have that whatever the coach, whoever the coach may be, that is up to the player to improve. Because the coach can, guide them during practice sessions, but you can instruct during games, but doing it in the field is your responsibility. It's up to you to deliver. It's not the coach. Instructions, yes. But doing it's up to you so consistent when even the young players some other players when they are called up for national team duty they try to change their game they try to be someone else whom you get selected for who you are and you go out there and try to be someone else you entirely change your game approach so that is something which I think I mean we have invested in Catapult. We have invested in technology and all. We should also invest on a psychologist or for our guys to prepare for games. To keep focused. That side of the story as well. We need to improve. That's being a bit more professional. Then I think we should fall in place. Not in the near future, but at least in another year or two, we should be there.
Okay, we have another friend of us, Tabit. How is it going?
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me on the show. How are you guys?
Yeah, not bad. So we were discussing about up and coming players who made an impact. අපිට අමතක වෙච්ච නමක් තමයි පුස්ලස්. පුස්ලස්ගේ save එක we played a semi-final sort of a game, and that was Luis Suarez all over it. තාබිට ගොඩක් කියන්න ඇති ඒ කියන්නේ තාබිත් තමයි කෑ ගහගෙන ඉන්නේ Luis Suarez ගල.
Because he shoved like because he got a red card, he went straight to because he went and got a red card. So he went and took a shower, and then he came to the media section, and he was just hanging out with the people. So he was interacting with the fans, and people were asking questions, and he was taking pictures with them. So I think his child was with him, and his family was there as well. So he actually interacted with everybody from the media.
So we were talking a lot about coaching staff, etc. Now the question is again the මේ වගේ situation එකක් ආපුවම ශබිරය අපිට backup plan එකක් නෑ. දැන් rule එකක් තියෙනවා pro license තියෙන coach කෙනෙක් ඉන්න ඕනේ team එක coach කරන්න, but there are no pro license coach in Sri Lanka. කොහොමද අපි මේක tackle කරන්නේ? මේකට plan එකක් ඕනේ නැද්ද? තාබිතුත් coach කෙනෙක් තාබිත්ට idea එකක් ඇති මේ ගැන.
yes ආකි pro license coaches නෑ ඒකට එක reason එකක් තමයි මම හිතන්නේ coaches ලට මේ export මොකද pro license කියන්නේ it's a bit of it's like an MBA that you need to do. It's A license is like you need to it's a 6 months sort of a thing, this thing that you need to do practicals, and I think now you have to do presentations and all. It's all about technology. So doing pro license, you need to be tech savvy as well as you need to have that knowledge in reading the game, because when you go to a pro, you don't do all this basic stuff. It's all about game management, player management, and all those. So to do those, we need to prepare as coaches. We need to be prepared to face that, because see what happens is most of the time we go in for a coaching seminar, whatever, and only there we learn, saying that okay, this is pro license. Wow, okay, hold on, and we take a step back, and then we are like we are the odd ones there, right? So when you do a pro license, it's like basically you go in, it will be only a 2 or 3 representing Sri Lanka, and it will be a mix of people coming in from other countries, where then we find out that we are from a different league, because the way we prepare for matches, we prepare our teams, and preparations, everything is totally different to what they do, because they are already on a platform where it's either a professional or semi-professional leagues, but we are not. We are just going towards that. So I think when people are talking of this pro license, we need to prepare our coaches to go into that level. Pro license, you can talk about pro license, you can talk about A license, but we need to first ensure that are the coaches ready to go into that next level of coaching, because end of the day, coach will need to do everything. Do the analyzing, everything. The data will be given to him. He needs to do his own game plan, talk to his assistants, get data from what the opposition do, all those. So pro license is not that easy. It's not just you getting your D license or your C license or B license, but once you go into A, you need to go into pro, and pro license is I don't think no one in Sri Lanka has a pro license. We have quite a few A license, but we need to see why people who have completed A have not moved into pro. There is a gap. There is a huge gap in terms of knowledge gap, basically. So we need to. There are courses where coaches need to do refresher courses. Get themselves updated. I saw one. I just take time on this. I just saw one clip where Marcelo Bielsa, the Leeds United coach, he was doing a talk to all the other coaches, and on the forum was Conte. he is one of the best coaches, and he is listening to this guy lecturing. I mean, uh, that's how you need to share knowledge. So I mean, coaches should also take responsibility to themselves to update themselves, upgrade. It's like, upgrading your phone. If you're not, you go, you go into a, you get, obsolete when you don't get up your self update. So that's something which we need to do as coaches. And again, like the players, coaches will have to take the responsibility, because no one is going to give you an A license or a pro license on a platter. You need to earn for it.
So, Shabira, I took a lot of time out of you, more than 40 minutes now. I'm not sure
I'm so
we.
sorry, Masha, because I don't want.
No, you are not. You don't have to be sorry. I'm sorry because I took a lot of time out of you. But finally, Shabiraya, what you would like to say for the team and finally for the footballing fans, basically?
See, for the team, there's you guys. The team did their best. I mean, they put football back on track. I mean, if you just see the first match that we played, we hardly had people coming to see the match. It was less than 1,005 or 1,000 people, and half of it were people who were in the organizing and media and all those. But at the end of the tournament, we saw a stadium with almost 10,000 spectators, and the players should be at least proud that they did that change for football in Sri Lanka. And I mean, it's not the end of the road for the team. There are matches coming up, there are tournaments coming up, there are qualifiers, all those. So it's a learning curve. As I said, the team is, although we don't have this thing, it's average a young team. So this team can go with a few inclusions, another 2 3 years. So they are, this thing is there, but also need to have in mind, uh, our players who are aging, those the players who are aging and would be on the end of their career. We need to look at replacements, because we cannot wait for replacements once they hang up their boots. We need to ensure that when these guys are there, we have replacements for them, so that they learn through the experienced guys. Now, just I'll take a few more minutes, Akib, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, sure.
uh,
No, no. I'm all in for
Now,
that.
the reason why, as for my observation, the reason why Maldives didn't do well, one of the reasons is because they were having an aging team. Most of their players are in their end, towards the end of their career. And okay, someone might argue that they didn't bring their full squad or whatever, but it was an aging team, so that should not happen to us. But when you take Bangladesh was a very, very strong team they brought in. So we need to make sure that, again, coming back to continuity, consistency, and all the stuff, we need to ensure that people who are about to hang up their boots. If you take, for example, Fazal is 33, and he might not be there next time we are playing the World Cup qualifiers. So we need to make sure that we fill in that position. We need to find a new Fazal to play in that position. The creativity, it's like, when Barcelona lost Xavi and Iniesta, they were looking for players to have that creativity. So we need to have that creativity in midfield. And same thing in the defense. We have who Hamilton, again being 32, but I think he can play a bit more. But we need to look for those people who can replace them without the performance being hampered. So that's something we need to look. But hats off to the guys, the entire squad. I mean, they had done really, really, really well, uh, especially in tiring, in challenging conditions, to bring back some sort of smile to Sri Lankan, the football loving public. So I think you won our hearts, although you lost the trophy. You guys won our hearts, and it was a very nice game to watch. But it was, like you said, Akib, it still hurts when you see, the other team taking the cup home. But I think, some good things will come down our way, hopefully next year.
Yeah, Shabira, when you were talking about finding the backup players, etc., the main question comes to the goalkeeper. How we are going to defend without Sujan uh, in future? And also, I saw Tabit මම හිතන්නේ තාබිත් දැක්ක මේ කීප් අපේ කෝච් කිය ඉඳ මේ සුජාන් ලබනවරුද රිටයර් වෙයි ඊළඟ අවුරුද්ද රිටයර් වෙයි. I don't know why he was saying this. Sujan is still 29, not even 30s, still 29. Yes, he might have an injury, but මං හිතන්නේ goalkeeper කෙනෙක් ඒ වගේ level එකකදී retire වෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා. Tabit, what do you think about that?
I
Should
think
we get
I think
yeah,
a goalkeeper can go for a little bit longer into their 30s. So obviously, like they have a much more longer career. He can play well into, if he takes care of his body, I'm sure he can play well into his 30s. So I don't think there's a rush to move him out of the door unless there is a serious injury that we don't know of, and maybe the coach has knowledge of it. But a few times it was mentioned in the press box and in the press conference that the coach is sort of making way for Sujan to sort of move on. I really don't understand what the thinking behind it is. But if you're just looking at it from an age point of view, he easily has another 5-6 years left in him if he looks after himself.
But as Shabira said, අපිට backup එකක් හොයාගන්න ඕනේ, probably a younger one, අවුරුදු 22 23 වගේ වයසක එක්කෙනෙක් ස්කොඩ් එකට එන්න ඕනේ. ඒ responsibility maybe hot game එකකට යාට match practice එකකුත් දෙන්න ඕනේ. මේකට අපි plan එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා දකිනවා Shabira.
Yeah, ඒක තමයි okay මම දැන් okay as Tabit rightly said, a goalkeeper can go a bit more extra than a normal outfield player. You know, that's proven anywhere in the world. You get top goalkeepers, they go beyond their 35 years, 38
They go
years.
40s.
They go even 40s. I mean, Van der Sar kept goals till he was 41 for United. You know, so even Casillas was there during his 30s, mid 30s. So
Buffon is still
always
playing.
Still there.
still
Yes.
playing, yeah. So basically a goalkeeper can go much more beyond, but it also is on the responsibility of the coaches, I mean even club and national, how to manage that player, because as of now Sujan has been overworked. So basically obviously he will have injuries, he'll be carrying injuries, he will be playing. I think he played during a World Cup qualifier with an injury. You know, I think he pulled his groin, but he still played. I think it was a Lebanon match or some match. He had to keep goals, right? So like that, at that moment of time we will not have a goalkeeper to replace. But that injury might have got aggravated, and it might have an effect on a longer term. So player management again is very critical for if we are to manage the resources properly, because a person like Sujan is a resource to us, but also we need to make sure, I'm repeating this, in case something happens, you know, like Tabit said, it's an injury, a long-term injury, which might take, like say what happened to Dylan and Kavindu. We need to have a backup. We can't just lay off at that time saying that our goalkeeper is injured. And to do that, we need to give exposures to the second goalkeeper as well as the reserves, so that we will not have we may not have to wait till the tournament starts for that. You know, you need to get exposure. We need to get a bit of international exposure to the second line goalkeepers as well. So giving them matches will obviously get their comfort levels up. So it's all about games. Akib, end of the day, you need to jump into the pool and do that length to learn how to swim. You cannot swim while standing on the deck, and you need to jump and you need to dive in to get a feel of that strokes and the kicks. So same thing, you need to play games to improve. You cannot stay in the bench and improve. You cannot stay outside and talk of football. You need to dive in. So I think to gain experience, they need to be given experience. You can, just because you're playing for a club team, you might get experience, but international games are totally different to that.
Something else that I'd like to add to that is goalkeeper. I mean, we all know very well a goalkeeper never gets substituted. So there's also another lack of opportunity. Like for example, a substitute goalkeeper would pretty much run an entire season just on the bench unless there's an injury. So there is not much opportunity even to rotate those players. Now, for example, a forward, if there's a second string striker, the coach would always give at least a 20 minutes or a 30 minutes in the second half. But we very rarely see a goalkeeper rotated during a game. So that's another reason why goalkeepers don't get much opportunities. And so it is important that they get as much playing time as possible rest of the season, like while they're playing for club. So then when they're coming into the international camp, they have, I mean, they're fresh, so it's not like they've been lethargic the whole time. I'd like to draw an example. When Spain won the World Cup, Casillas was goalkeeper for Real Madrid, but on the bench was Pepe Reina for Liverpool and Victor Valdez for Barcelona. All three were first 11 goalkeepers, but unfortunately in the World Cup, the other two goalkeepers played 0 minutes the entire World Cup. So because that's a position that very rarely gets substituted. So I think it's like Shabira said, it's so important that these boys get match time outside of these tournaments, just to keep them fresh,
Yeah, but
and they're on their
guys,
toes.
sorry, David, continue. Sorry.
No, that's it. I mean, that was just my point. Like
No,
being a
but
goalkeeper is very,
I'm
I mean, it's very tough position. Either you're the best. If you're the best, you're in that number one position for a good 10 years, and the substitute player is like on the bench.
That's true. But I don't know. I don't think I'm not too sure if you guys know, but the Seychelles goalkeeper, the captain, was injured during training. See, the guy
Yeah.
who kept goals throughout the tournament was the reserve goalkeeper. But their captain was a goalkeeper. He busted his ACL while training, and he underwent a surgery as well. So see, that is the kind of backup that we are talking of. It's not that they could absorb the pressure, but he was just put on the spotlight, and he went home being the goalkeeper who won them the tournament. So I mean,
And
that
he
sort of
saved all
pressure.
penalties other than Sujan's. So it has been
Yeah. So
unbelievable.
see, that's how. But being fair, Machan, I think we need to give chances or exposure to our players. It's a different ball game when it comes to international games. It's totally different.
Yeah. Okay, so we carried out for 1 hour almost. So I think it's time to wrap up. Finally, now we heard that. Okay, there's one final question about these players. So we got an injury for Dylan. I think there was a lot of rumors going on. One foreign club is making fuss about a player getting injured here, and it's not secure enough, infrastructure is not good enough කියලා. අපේ grounds එච්චර හොඳ නැහැ කියලා. මම හිතන්නේ මේ කතාව මම දැක්කේ පත්තරේ දැක්කේ දෙයක්. මම දන්නේ නැහැ අත්කාත මොනවද කියලා. හැබැයි මේ කියන විදිහට ඒ ඇවිල්ලා ඩිලන් මොකද මම දන්න තරමින් ඩිලන්ට තමයි කොන්ට්‍රැක්ට් එකක් තියෙන්නේ QPR එකත් එක්ක. ඉතින් රිස්ක් එකක් තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලන් රිලීස් කරන්න නැති වෙයි කියලා. මේ වගේ සොලියුෂන් එකකට අපි ground එකක් බලන්න හම්බ වෙයිද ඉස්සරහම ශබිලයි අපි කොච්චර important ground එකක් ආබිත්.
Akib, I'll answer your second question. Groundwork Hambenda, yes, the FIFA president during his visit has promised that we will definitely get a international standard grounds very soon. So I think the president, the federation president, along with the minister of sports, they're working on it to identify a place where we can have a fully fledged international football ground of our own, which I think is very, very, it's a timely thing that we need to do if we are to improve football. So I think sooner or later we might get one or two grounds with international standard pitches to play. On to your second question, most of these clubs, if let's forget QPR, you take the high leagues, if you take the Premier League, you take the whatever the league, the Spanish league, there are coaches who make a bit of a fuss when they go and play international games, because like it or not, the club games are much more financially lucrative for sponsors than the national team. So a lot of people try to secure their players injury free and everything when they go in for national duties. I think we have seen Gareth Bale, then all sorts of players. When they go for national duties, the club urges them not to this thing, or there are objections from managers and the club management. So this is something which will be there for even be it Dylan or be it Gareth Bale or whoever, that will definitely be there. See, it could have happened to anyone. You know, while playing, you will not, you cannot predict that the injury was due to the pitch. I mean, we see people busting their ACLs in the English Premier League, and in Syria, in the French league, whatever, wherever they play. So it's a thing that we can debate on, but I think it's just a rumor going on saying that, you know, a player has something like this. I mean, but to be honest, on the organizers, as I said, they were taken quickly to the medical, the hospitals, and they were, you know, the scans were done, and within 6 hours they got the results and all those. So all those the procedures were followed. Well, the thing is, you cannot go in for an ACL replacement. You can't hurriedly go in for an ACL replacement because Dylan is under contract. So obviously, he will have to refer to his parent club before undergoing an ACL replacement. He will have to consult their club doctor, and then based on his recommendations, they will have to do. So that is a different sort of an approach that Dylan has to take when it comes to an injury. But I don't think, knowing Dylan, and you know, Dylan's parents were, and even the two brothers who were there, they were diehard Sri Lankan fans. I mean, so I think it's just a rumor going on, and hopefully we would like to see him and as well as Kavindu both back on the field, because it's important for those two to be there.
Here's something
Yes,
that I'd like to add to that. I think it was quite unfortunate that it was Dylan, but it could have been very well any other
Anyone.
player. It could have been anyone. So yeah, maybe Dylan's getting the attention because Dylan is coming from his parent club is a British club, but we also have to worry about the welfare of every other player. And while there is no direct link between the pitch condition and an injury, perhaps a few muddy patches wouldn't have helped. You know, a twisted ankle, it could happen. Like, you know, there is no, like I said, there's no direct link, but it could have influenced an injury because they prepared the pitch with very short time period. Obviously, the rain didn't help either. But given all of that, I feel like the ground staff did their best effort, best job to get the ground prepared, because we have only one ground. So I think it's a thing, Akib, there is no overnight solution for these things. You know, it's one of those things where we have to work with what we have and continue to make small improvements, because we can't get a Wembley Stadium tomorrow. You know, infrastructure is something that takes time to build, and with the understanding and support and patience as well. I think now we've got 2 or 3 boys representing foreign clubs, but mind you, like, there are boys in Sri Lanka also playing for local clubs. You know, they also have respective managers, they also have coaches who, mind you, the Super League is starting next week. So let's say Kavindu, for example, is probably playing for a local team. Now his team is going to miss him. You know, his coach is going to be upset. So this, I don't want to highlight it just on one particular player. It's just a coincidence that this particular player is representing a British club. But in general, I think our interest should be on the welfare of all of our players. And this injury could have happened to anyone. So it's just unfortunate that
I think
I
there's
wouldn't
connection issues.
for any.
So ශබ්‍රය so අපි දැක්ක ඊයේ මං හිතන්නේ ඊයේ හරි පෙරේද හරි බාසිලෝනා ප්ලේයර් කෙනෙක් මේ සෙලිබ්‍රේට් කරන ගමන් ඉන්ජරි එකක් කම යාගේ නී ඉන්ජරි එකක් ඇවිල්ලා තිබ්බනේ මේක so they're playing on like highest level European football, that's what people say, best football කියලා කියනවා. ඉතින් එහෙම කියලාදී ඒගොල්ලන් සෙලිබ්‍රේට් ගෝල් එක ගාලා සෙලිබ්‍රේට් කරද්දී දනිස වද්දගෙන ඉන්ජරි එකක් ඇතුණා.
Since you mentioned, I have a really cool story for you guys, and maybe the audience would like to listen to this. Since you mentioned injury during celebration, a famous player who is big on the news right now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, his most important goal he scored for Manchester United was the 99 goal in the finals, right? His career was cut short because of the celebrations in that goal. He injured his knee celebrating after scoring that goal, and that was one of the reasons why his career was cut short. He picked up the injury celebrating the goal in 1999. True story. And
so,
today,
yeah.
Manchester United legend, and just got fired.
So yeah. Anyway, we We are already 1 hour. So thank you for Shabiraya for your words and commitment on the show, and thank you for joining. Thank you, Tabit. We'll hope to catch. I mean, there's a Six Nation hopefully coming up, and probably with the Super League going on, we will catch more frequently. Thank you. And shout out to your
Thanks, Akib.
sponsors. Yes. Shout out to our sponsors, Fit Parcels or Il Parcels. දැන් අර මේ වගේ ජර්සිස් අපි බාසිලෝනා මැන්චෙස්ටර් යුනයිටඩ් ගැන කතා කරද්දී අපි මමත් රියල් මැඩ්‍රිඩ් ෆෑන් කෙනෙක් මම හැමතිස්සෙම හිතන දේ තමයි කොහොමද මම මේ ඔරිජිනල් ජර්සි එකක් ගෙන්න ගන්නේ කියලා තියෙනවා. දැන් අපිට සොලියුෂන් එකක් තියෙනවා Fits e-parcel through Amazon එකේ හරි eBay එකේ හරි link එක යවුවම ඒගොල්ලන් අපිට බජට් එක ගෙවනවා. තාබිත් ඔයාලට ගෙන්න ගන්න පුළුවන් අවශ්‍ය equipments උනත් ඔයාගේ academy එකට.
I have actually like purchased from them and they're quite good. They basically send you a quote saying that this is how much it's going to cost you for clearance and transport, and it comes to the doorstep. So it's quite, and you can pay upon delivery. So it's quite convenient, if you want to bring anything down from Europe or America. I've bought actually a lot of books from them, and they've been quite good.
The other thing is අපි දැන් ඉලෙක්ට්‍රොනික අයිටම් එකක් මොනවාරි ගද්දී ශබිරයි ඔයාලට ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති දැන් මේ ලෝකේ හැමතැනම මේ second quality එකක් නැත්නම් A grade එකක් ඔය හරි මොනවාරි B grade කියනවා A grade කියනවා හැමතැනම තියෙනවා. But if you go to cyber deals, without a doubt you will be able to find the original headsets or the computer equipments whatever you need. So ඒගොල්ලන්වත් මතක් කරන ගමන් thank you Shabiraya and thank you Tabit. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will catch up soon with another show.
Thanks a lot, Akib, for hosting, and
Thanks. Good night, guys.
good night.
Bye. See you.